Hello cadets and welcome to Captain's Drydock, and in this tutorial we will learn how to find the right resistor for your LED. Now when I was 10 years old, in the pre-internet days, the dark times, I just had this equation to work out the right resistor for the LED. Now as you can imagine, if you don't like maths or if you are from the US, math, it was scary and I blew up thousands of LEDs and I never got the right resistor. However, since then the internet has given us a wealth of information as well as really cool websites, and in this episode I will show you a website. If you enter the right values in, it will work it all out for you. Does that sound good? Now you will actually never blow up an LED again, but I won't just show you the actual website, I'll show you how to fill it out and also how to work out how to do it manually. Like that equation, I'll break it down for you later on, so you'll know how to get it done quickly on the internet and how to do it like using a little bit of this and perhaps a calculator. Let's get cracking. Resistors. LEDlinear1.org not only works out what resistor we need for an LED, but also generates a wiring diagram for us to visualize how to make the circuit. All we need is to enter 3 values, so the website can tell us what resistor the LED requires to prevent it from burning out or shortening its lifespan. Now, if you don't know the value, it's not a problem. Click the question mark icon, where a pop-up box suggests the most likely value to enter. Also, it explains what the value represents, which is a great way to learn. The first value is the source voltage, which you've probably guessed means the power of the battery or mains adapter we're using, that I highly recommend to test circuits with, as it allows us to choose a whole range of safe, low voltages to play with. Even if you want your circuit to eventually be battery powered, batteries drain over time and your results won't be consistent during the testing stage, as there's a risk you can mistake the resistor being an issue if an LED is dim, when in fact it could be just that you're using an old battery. Although we can use a much lower setting to light a single LED, I found that the 12 volts is a good universal voltage if you're including additional components that require more power than what a single LED requires. The second field refers to something called a diode. This is a term used describing a 2-terminal electronic component, which is the technical term for our light emitting diode, or LED for short. But not all LEDs are equal and require different amounts of power to light up. The pop-up box will give us a useful list of how many volts a range of LEDs require. As we're going to use a white LED, the table suggests that it needs 3.3 volts, which we'll enter here. And the last value is the current that our LED requires to work. This is likely to be 20 milliamps when using standard LEDs, even if they're small or large. Finally, click the button Find Resistor, which in an instant calculated the resistor value, as well as a clear picture diagram that doesn't use technical symbols. This is really helpful, as not everyone remembers what they learnt at physics class at school. If you need to find a resistor for 2 or more LEDs in your circuit, there's a separate page that will work it all out for you. It will have the same fields, but with an additional field that lets you input the amount of LEDs you want to use. Before soldering, which is covered in a separate video on the Academy playlist and can be navigated from here or in a link in the video description below, always test your circuit, as it's easier to change or correct anything now rather than later. Another cheap and useful item to purchase is the breadboard. Essentially, this is a plastic board with holes that are connected via strips of metal. This allows us to make a circuit without soldering or twisting wires together. Essentially, it's like electronic Lego. You might not be interested, but I love quirky facts. The reason why it's called a breadboard is because before the days of endless superhero movie reboots, an actual wooden breadboard was used to quickly make up a circuit to see if it worked. For clarity, we will make the circuit in sequence, starting from connecting the positive wire to the first column of holes that are connected to each other. Next, we need to pick out the correct resistor. As a cadet, and assuming your electronic parts box is either non-existent or limited, I highly recommend to purchase a bulk of resistors that cover most ranges from low to high. These are really cheap and will avoid the frustration of having to order a specific resistor you might not have. Captain's tip: as there's such a range of resistors, organise them in a compartmentalised box. Or, if you have the time and the patience of a falcon, organise them into small, labelled Ziploc bags. This makes it really fast and an easy method to locate a resistor and replace if you don't want to use them. There is no positive or negative end to a resistor, so we can just place it directly into the breadboard. The LED does have a positive and a negative. And how can we tell that? Well, by the length of the legs. The longer leg is positive and the shortest leg is negative. The last step is to complete the circuit by connecting the negative power wire. And there we have it. The power is flowing where the resistor is protecting the LED by reducing the current. Although LEDs can still light up using a lower voltage without a resistor, there's more chance that they'll burn out eventually, which is something we don't want to happen in our model or prop when it's all constructed. Here's an example of multiple LEDs used in a circuit whose resistor was calculated by the multi-LED page. Yes, cadets, you may have noticed that the resistor is placed after the LEDs rather than before, as we've done in the previous single LED circuit, but placed before or after the LEDs. As a resistor, just by being in a circuit, as it regulates the current throughout the circuit in a setup like this. So the websites worked it all out for us, but what did it do? In fact, it used something similar to this equation in its programming, and that's what we're going to do now manually with a Sharpie, a piece of paper, and a little help from a calculator. And guess what? Once you finish that equation, you've learned a little bit of maths. Okay, so here's our equation. So let's start with R. So R, as you guessed it, represents the resistor value. So to find that, we need to do this equation. And it does look kind of scary when you first see it, but we just have to break it down because essentially it's an equation within an equation. So here's some brackets here. And so the first one is VS, so volt source. And we know the volt source is 12. So that would be your battery or your adapter. And that's going to minus the LED voltage. So how many volts does it take to light up that LED? And we know it's a white LED and it takes 3.3 volts. So this is one equation we need to work out because it's in its brackets. And to do that, I just get my calculator because my maths isn't that good. So 12 subtract 3.3 equals 8.7. So this is actually 8.7. That's the value we need here. So that's been divided by the LED. So how many milliamps is going through that LED? So that's 20. So what we're doing essentially, we're just dividing 8.7 by 20. Let's do that here. 8.7 divided by 20 equals 0.435. So 0.435. Now there is no resistor which is 0.435, but if you look at the next higher up resistor, there is a resistor which is 470. So you want to go higher, not lower, otherwise you'll end up burning out the resistor. So always go to the next step resistor, and that's what we need. We need a 470 ohm resistor.